All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. It's an absolutely insane time around the sport right now with early National Signing Day opening up. Also, we have the coaching carousel, which is heating up at an all-time clip right now. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, and I put it out on X earlier, but being a Penn State fan today feels a lot like the Will Smith last episode of Fresh Prince gif, where it's just him. It's just an empty house, and there's nothing around him. And, of course, I'm joined by someone who probably also feels a little left out in the cold this week, as his Texas Longhorns are still on the outside looking in of the college football playoff. He's Scott Bogman. Boggs, how are you? Obviously, you're doing better than me after we got outbid by the crumble cookie guy and another dude just crushing creatine all day. So, how are the overall vibes for you heading into the weekend?
Hey, look, Texas is not making the tournament. I had no grand aspirations of that. I knew, like, it just always, Sark just sounds bad campaigning, but
all the teams do, but you have
Cristobal
to do it.
did it.
Yeah.
They all do it. It's, how can you not put my team in the blah, blah, blah. Look, I understand the positives and negatives for Texas going in. I get it, right? But they set the precedent last year. Bama didn't get in. Texas wasn't going to get in this year, right? So that's fine. Look, we still beat A&M. We still beat Oklahoma. That is all that I need to warm my heart for Christmas time, Seth. So we're keeping to that, and I do feel bad for you. It did seem like Satake was maybe Penn State's big swing here, but there's going to be a lot of fired NFL coaches at the end of the year. You'll get to pick from that group as well. So, there are still options out there for Penn State, and it's not like that job is going to be vacant. I think just go with Smith. Why not?
No.
What about intern him for another year? Just leave the interim tag on him.
We're already, if you look at our recruiting class today, dude,
I know, that's the bad part.
That is what happened when we fired James Franklin. We have one of the worst recruiting classes, not just in the Power Four, but
like
the entire
129.
Country. Yes, It is terrible. And at the same time, Boggs, we also kind of closed this window on all the G5 coaches that could have came, and we could have got a lot of their guys through the transfer portal, like the Morrises and everyone coming out of that conference that could have came up and helped us. And I thought Brian Hartline was like the ace in our sleeve, and we were going to pull him out, and he was going to bring a bunch of Ohio State recruits. Not the case.
Yeah, I firing Franklin, I think it was probably the necessary step for the fan base.
I agree.
They should have hired somebody way quicker.
You had a month and a half, right? It's not like
they fired Franklin before everybody else got fired, right?
Yeah,
so
ridiculous.
Almost everybody. So yeah, too long, drug their feet in the process, and it hasn't worked out. So I still think Penn State is going to be a good team. They'll get players in the secondary signing period. They'll get transfer guys as well. They'll be okay, but this is a bad look. It is.
It is a long
no other
road
way to say
recovery. Yeah.
I
hopefully next year we can just fade Penn State together, right? And that can kind of be what we want to do. I tried fading them a couple times this year. Did not work betting them. I think I was 0-4 on Penn State this year. So sad times there, but honestly still a great time overall in the sport. So much buzz happening around it. It keeps us employed, keeps the lights on here. And as usual, it is our midweek program where we're going to give you our picks for all 9 conference title games. We're also going to update you on the injury report, line movement, and where the BP projections currently stand. Then we'll get out of here with our best bets. As always, shout out to everyone who's still crushing with us on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or the audio feed. We are really looking forward to this stretch run to the title game. The easiest free way to support us, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a moment of college football betting coverage the rest of the way. We have some really, really cool things on the horizon for 2026 that we're going to have for you. But before then, let's make sure that we also shout out our presenting sponsor of the program, Hard Rock Bet. And big news, folks, Hard Rock Bet is now live in Michigan. So all you Wolverines fans who are crying in your tears this week, no worries. You can get invested with Hard Rock Bet. You can sign up today and place your first $5 sports bet. And if it wins, you not only get $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings, but you're also going to get access to casino games. New customers, you can get up to $1,000 back in a casino bonus. If you're not not up money after your first 24 hours of playing on the slots. Win money or get a casino bonus back. Plus, you also get 200 bonus spins, which are paying out in real cash. Not sure where to place your first bet on? Just go ahead and head over to the Hard Rock Bet Stats Hub, and it will help you out. It's loaded with trends, streaks, and stats, all to help guide your picks. Numbers don't lie, and neither does the data in there. Make sure to check out the Stats Hub now and get the edge to bet with confidence. Hard Rock Bet also offers new promos daily, plus big legendary reward drops every single Thursday, like gifts from under the tree from Old St. Nick, baby. So whenever you're listening to this, just fire up the app and check out what they've got going on for you. Download the Hard Rock Bet app now and make your first deposit. Let's start on Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time in Calhoun County, Alabama. We have the 9-3 Kennesaw State Owls. They have moved to a 2.5-point favorite over the 8-4 Jacksonville State Gamecocks for the Conference USA Championship game. Kennesaw State, they're at full strength in this one. Jack State, meanwhile, their defensive tackle, Juwan Campbell, their right tackle, Reggie Jackson, and their flanker wide receiver, Brock Rothsteiner, they are all questionable. The BP projections, they have this game at a pick 'em. So are you staying packed with the Owls after they moved out to a favorite, Boggs?
I really don't like the direction this moved in for my pick, right? Like, and I was honestly surprised to see it because I feel like everything I read, everything I watched, all the experts are picking Jacksonville State in this game. And I understand that, like, but everyone I've watched also said this game is going to be very close. So this is a tough one for me. I'm going to stick with my lean towards Kennesaw, though. I think this game is likely to be a one-score game either way. So I think Kennesaw on the money line is a fine play as well if you want to just not involve points. But I'll lay the 3 because I'm thinking but I'm starting to think maybe the over is a better play. Both these teams played a top 50 pace. They're both better on offense. They both match up well with each other. Our numbers are very close to the total in this, so they have it more as a coin flip.
Sure.
But really it's the Amari Odom turnovers. 4 turnovers in this game for Kennesaw last time, and 3 of those were picks. I think that, Odom hasn't thrown a pick since that game. I think if he cuts down on those turnovers, this game is really close. I'll give the lean towards Kennesaw, but there's rain with light wind as well, which is usually good for offense. So, I think the over is probably my better lean. Kennesaw is my lean as well, but I'm not going beyond that. Their leans, I'm not putting money on this championship game. I'm not doing it.
It was so funny, Boggs. Over the weekend, I was at my dad's house. I had a 4 quad box going in the living room, and it was in between before the Alabama-Auburn game started.
You probably have the weirdest quad box, too.
I do. And my grandpa walks, and he says, "Who are these teams?" And it was Kennesaw State and Liberty. And he's like, "What is going on here?" And
they didn't exist.
Yeah, so he was a little confused. I had to kind of catch him up on what the G5 is, try to compare that to the Power 4 without making it sound like the FCS. It was a very difficult process, but as a whole, I'll tell you this. The one thing I've taken away, and I've actually watched a decent amount of Kennesaw and Jacksonville State this year, Kennesaw keeps these games close, and they find a way to win them. So instead of just going ahead and laying the points with Kennesaw or even taking Jacksonville State on the plus side of the money line, I'm going to go with Jacksonville State over 28.5. I'm getting this at minus 115 right now. I also heard in a comment earlier on one of these episodes we did this week, Boggs, where apparently team totals are not available in some states. I did not know that. So apologies to those who cannot bet team totals. I can't bet player props in PA, but had no idea that was a thing. But in this game for me, Boggs, really, I'm looking for mismatches, and I think there's no bigger mismatch on the field than the nation's leading rusher Cam Cook in the backfield for Jacksonville State against the 98th ranked run defense of Kennesaw, right? The books have consistently been leaving Jacksonville State out hanging this year, and we've capitalized a couple times. The only time I didn't hit on them when I bet on them, I was 2-1. The one time I didn't was FIU last month, where they had the game intact and they just fumbled it away. Yep, fumbled it away twice. So still, I think really the Owls, with them gutting out these close wins and the Odom and Bayard connection, I'm just taking the team total over here. Jacksonville State has cleared this number in 6 of 8 CUSA games this season. Kennesaw State's last 3 games have seen their opponent go over this total, averaging 37 points in that span. And that's teams like Liberty, right, that weren't really that good on offense. So I love this. This is really my second favorite bet of the week. Jacksonville State over 28.5.
252 rushing yards against Kennesaw State in that first matchup.
Yeah.
217 for Kennesaw though, right?
Yeah, right.
Like that's why I'm thinking the over is the better play. You're
Over's
on the
not a
over
bad play
Jacksonville
either,
State. Yeah, and I just think this offense is improved for Kennesaw. So over as well. But like I said, I'll watch that one from the sidelines. No action from me.
Okay. Most books have moved the 19th ranked James Madison Dukes to 23.5-point favorites over the 8-4 Troy Trojans. And I will say, though, our friends over at Hard Rock Bet, they're still actually offering a 22.5-point ticket for the Sun Belt Championship game on Friday night. If you want to get invested over there, another great reason to get invested with our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Troy right now coming in at full strength. JMU, meanwhile, they have their linebacker, Gannon Weatherby, their ex-wide receiver, Landon Ellis, both listed as probable. Their RB2, Jordan Fuller, he is questionable. And they're also going to have a few linebackers and D linemen in the 2-deep out. BP projections right now, we are at 21.5 points. Therefore, I'm going to tease this down. I'm going to go 20.5 points, minus 150 there on the alt line. What about you, Scotty?
I mean, I think that's a good play, alting this if you want, because the line did go the wrong way, right? We were talking about this on Monday, and we said, okay, it's 21.5 now. If it slides down to 20.5, I'm all over it, because that's where we're showing value for BP as well. So for this one, I'm also going to go with the team total. We're going to stick to the JMU over 34.5. They've gone over this in 5 of the last 6 games. Troy has won with defense this year, but I just really don't buy into anyone in the Sun Belt really competing with James Madison, right? And their loss was to Louisville. They had the one weird 7-point win over Georgia State, but all other Sun Belt foes lost by 10 points or more to James Madison, and they scored 35-plus in 6 of 8 conference games this year. So I think JMU is going to run with their running back Knight and Barnett, their quarterback, and beat down Troy, just like Old Dominion did a couple weeks ago when they put up 351 rushing yards against Troy here. So the spread is moved. We mentioned on Monday that it was probably going to move, and it did. But we also talked about Troy in their losses, which is why I don't like the total in this game, right? The tickets and cash are way on this over 47.5. It's a low total, but in those losses, in 3 of the 4 losses that Troy has had, they've scored 10 points or fewer. Right. So when they get beat, they don't score on offense really at all. And JMU has probably the best defense in the Sun Belt. So for me, I'm going to go with JMU over 34.5 in the team total. I just think this number's too big, and I think the over is in question because I don't know how much Troy scores in this game. So that's why I would lay off both of those sides. Okay. But if you can bet the team total, I like 34.5 as the over for JMU.
Yeah, I actually really looked at that 34.5, and I was deciding whether or not to take that or to take this alt line and pay a little more juice. And I ultimately went with the alt line specifically because while Troy has really fallen off towards the back half of the season under their quarterback Goose Crowder since making that switch, it has also sometimes led to dragging some teams down in the mud. I don't think they can necessarily do that against JMU because they have a top 6 rushing offense, but JMU also a top 5 total defense. So I don't think Troy's going to score very much in this game. I do think JMU probably crosses that 34.5 line, honestly. But like Troy right now, same strength of schedule as JMU pretty much, and they're 121st in rushing, 83rd in passing, 71st in total defense. So say what you want about the strength of schedule for JMU, but at the same time, like they've had the exact same thing, and they are way worse of a team in all metrics. And like JMU smoked Old Dominion. We talked about that on Monday, 63-27. I remember that game vividly. I was pre-gaming a wedding at B-Dubs that day with my fiance, so made sure to have JMU locked and loaded on one of their many screens there. So Troy, they lost to ODU 3 weeks ago, 33-0, as you pointed out. So I think if JMU Boggs like really wants to impress the committee.
I love your thought process. They could get the total themselves, right? Well, they could really beat them down.
And like you look at it, man, like if they win and Duke upsets Virginia, JMU could be heading towards the college football playoff. He's going to make them like Duke was not ranked last night. Duke was not ranked. JMU was ranked.
Look, I like the fan fiction you're writing here, but I don't think the committee is going to put two G6 schools in.
Then they have to say beating Virginia in the conference championship game means enough to outduel the Sun Belt here. So
I I think they would. So
Okay.
I'm just saying that's my opinion. I don't know. We may not get there, but I love your point about, look, JMU wants to put up points, right? They want to impress everyone, and they want to beat their competition down real bad to look great going into the tournament. Yes, that logic is great. Also, JMU second in time of possession this year, right?
Wow.
So they like to wear out that defense, right? And that's how Troy has made their money, is with defense. I think JMU is going to run them over. I think they're going to dominate time of possession. And again, top 10, they're 7th in the nation in scoring in the fourth quarter, James Madison. That is where the work gets done towards this team total and the over. So I just don't know if Troy's going to score at all. That's my big question here.
Absolutely. Make sure you folks are tracking these bets and getting line alerts straight to your device by downloading the free BettingPros app today. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major books in just one spot. You can easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and of course parlays. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps. Using the promo code JUICE, JUICE. Again, that's promo code JUICE, and activating your trial on the upgrade screen. No line movement has come in New Orleans, where a college football playoff bid is on the line in the American Championship on a Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The number 20 North Texas Mean Green, they remain a 2.5-point favorite over the number 21 Tulane Green Wave. North Texas, their starters should all be up for this one. They do have a slew of injuries, though, in the defense. Is too deep, but who really doesn't at this point in the season? For Tulane, it's just their H wide receiver, Bryce Bohannon, who is questionable. We, from the BP projections, are showing North Texas nearly as a 4.5-point favorite. So, Boggs, have you found anything to take you off Eric Morris, Drew Mestmaker, and company?
No way. No. The line didn't move. The total didn't move. Neither did my opinion here. We're sticking in North Texas and laying the points.
Okay.
The Mean Green have been a covering machine this year. 10-2. Tulane is 5-6-1. But North Texas offense is what does it for us here, obviously. They're number one in scoring in the country. They've had 52-plus points in 5 of the last 6 games. Quarterback Drew Mestmaker is number one in passing, number one in yards per attempt, 4th in touchdowns with 29, and only has 4 interceptions this year. The true freshman running back, Caleb Hawkins, is 1st with 23 touchdowns this season. He's 7th in rushing yards, in 25th in attempts. Tulane has been strong against the run, but miserable against the pass this year. Retzloff has had some big performances, but this one I think is just going to be likely too much in this game. So lay the points, take UNT. And this is another one that we have rain in the forecast with light winds, which again leads towards points.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I have been one of the few G5 media rankers over the past month or two who have had North Texas in that one spot, right? Because I mean, we were on them pretty early, right? Like, we probably started betting them, I'd say mid to late October, when we really started putting the team totals out there. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to go with the North Texas team total over 34.5 points. North Texas, to me, they just have way too much firepower to be stopped with their offense right now. Mestmaker leads the nation in passing yards, 4th in passing touchdowns with 29. Their wide receiver, Wyatt Young, I know you're a big fan of that cat as well.
Yeah.
He's 3rd in the country in receiving yards, 1st
won us
in
some
the
money
American
last week.
in receiving touchdowns. He's been excellent. Big play waiting to happen. And then the running back, Caleb Hawkins. This guy leads the AAC in rushing yards and the country in rushing touchdowns. Tulane's defense, for me, it's the passing defense, right? They're 119th through the air. So
miserable.
Like, I get that they have had a tougher schedule, right? But I don't know if you remember watching Josh McCown's son on a Tuesday, or I think maybe it was a Thursday and Wednesday night, some weekday for UTSA, carving them up for 370 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 points. So I think
it was shocking.
It was.
Because I had money on Tulane.
Yeah, I was very bummed out about that one, had multiple units down on it. So I think if Tulane has any shot to win, it's going to come via a shootout. I don't think they're stopping North Texas. It's just, can they put up enough points to keep up with them? Maybe. I think I'm still with you. I don't mind laying the points or taking them on the money line, North Texas. But instead, I'm just going to go with what's safer to me in the team total over. And let's go ahead and move forward to where it's going to be a rainy Friday night in Boise, Idaho, where the 8-4 Broncos take on the 10-2 UNLV Rebs. They are currently 3.5 to 4-point favorites in the Mountain West Championship game. UNLV, they have their starting tight end, Varkey's Gummas. He is questionable. Boise State, their quarterback, Madison, he will be back under center for the first time since November 1st. And the Broncos also have their nose tackle, Deion Washington, questionable coming in. The BP projections right now, we're showing this line closer to 1.5 points. So actually some good value out there on the Rebels. Is that where you're getting invested, Mr. Scott Bogman?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of changes in this one since the initial line came out, right? Madison was announced as the starter while we were recording on Monday. The line flipped to Boise minus 3.5. And now we have an 80% chance of rain in this one. And obviously it's in Boise, so very cold as well.
On the blue turf.
With all that, on the Smurf turf. With all that being said, the public is all over UNLV. And we show value that way as well. Madison will certainly throw a wrench in my love for UNLV, but my initial pick here has shrunk a point, and I'm going to stick to it. This is a UNLV team total over 26.5. Now, Boise State beat the brakes off of UNLV earlier this season, right? They put up 56 points, but UNLV in that game still had 476 yards and put up 31 points. The quarterback, Anthony Calandria, has led this squad to the 12th best scoring offense in the country. They grade 27th according to PFF on offense, and the only G6 teams that are higher graded than UNLV are North Texas, James Madison, and USF. That's it. So on offense, this team is very, very good. And Boise State has played strong defense this season, but they already have allowed 31 to UNLV this season, and the defense allowed 30 to Fresno State, 21 to Colorado State, which isn't a lot of points, but Colorado State is 2-10 right now, and they only scored 21 or more in half of their games, 6 of their games, and they allowed 24 to Utah State last week as well. UNLV has a better offense than all of those teams, so I'm going to stick to the UNLV team total over 26.5 in this one. I don't really like a lean one way or the other in the game. The overall total, I think, could be smashed as well. So I would lean towards the game over as well, but definitely going to take UNLV over 26.5 points.
Yeah, shout out to Dan Mullins for everything he's done for this team in his first year. Also Calandra, right? He came into the season in a quarterback battle with Alex Orji. Orji ends up going down after week 1, not seeing him again. And Calandra just named Mountain West Player of the Year. So congratulations to the kid,
how
man.
bad did they look week 1, right? Who'd they play, like Idaho State, and almost got beat? They looked miserable week 1. Yep. And to be in the Mountain West Championship again is pretty amazing from what they looked in week 1. So Mullins done a great job here.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Let's move forward, though, Boggs. We have one more G5 championship game, and it comes where we have a 1.5-point ticket that is now available in favor of the 8-4 Western Michigan Broncos over the 7-5 Miami, Ohio RedHawks for the MAC championship. This is coming at Ford Field on noon Saturday. And we also have Miami. They're coming in right now. Their linebacker, Corbin Hondrew, questionable. Western, just their tight end, too, Cade Conley, questionable. They do rely on those tight ends pretty heavily, though, with their run-heavy packages. The BP projections like the Broncos by a field goal, so I'm down on the 1.5. I was very happy to see that today when I woke up. So are you coming with me on the squad right here, Boggs?
I'm with you, man, and I'm fading the public on both sides here of this one as our numbers are. I predicted it would drop, and we are getting the extra point for Western Michigan. I'm sorry, what did you say you're taking here? Are you taking Western Michigan?
Yep, 1.5.
Okay, yeah. We're fading the public, which is surprising to me. Like, I was surprised the public is so on Miami. They've been a great team here, and I think their offense is good enough to beat I like the under here. I think Miami's offense was good enough to beat this dominant WMU defense with Finn, but Gostkowski in his second career start, I'm going to lean towards the Western Michigan defense here. However, Miami defense is very good as well, and they were able to hold WMU to 316 yards and only 17 points in that first matchup. The plan on offense is boring and clear for Western Michigan. Run the ball until you have to pass.
Yep.
These teams are both very low in explosive plays. They're both top 40 in explosive plays allowed as well. This should be a great defensive field position, gross type of game. The only thing that's missing is weather because they're playing in Ford Field here, right? So I'm going to go with the under here. I lean towards Western Michigan as well. I think they win this game, gross, low scoring with that dominant defense, but I'm definitely going to be on the under in this game, and we're showing value that way as well. That has not moved. 43.5 is the total. We've been on like 41.5, 40, somewhere in that neighborhood. It has not moved.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get why the public might be on Miami, right? This is a familiar territory to them. They've been in tons of MAC championships over the last decade or so with Chuck Martin at the helm. This Gostkowski kid, as I said on Monday's show, he's got a little something, right? But I think he's going to have to be pretty much the entire show for them. I think he's going to have to put
Buffalo and Ball State.
Yeah. And like I think he's really going to have to put the team on his shoulders because WMU, man, they get after the opposing quarterbacks, 14th in sacks per game. And despite getting out of the gates usually pretty slow, like if you ever bet on Western Michigan, it's almost sometimes a good thing to take them after kickoff live if you're a live better because they usually get down, right?
But then the vibes. Yeah.
Yes. And then they somehow find their way back into the game. And then by the fourth quarter, they just start wearing on you late, possessing the ball, leaning on that run game. And I really like Brock Lowry. I like the running back Jalen Buckley here. But they also have some playmakers out there on the outside like Talik Williams. They gave this guy a jet sweep last week, and he went the distance. I think he can do it once again. Western Michigan, they killed my Toledo MAC title future by coming back down 13-0 late in the third quarter earlier this season. I think they win it back by getting the trophy for themselves in this one. Let's hope.
Let's hope.
Let's go ahead. Let's get to the next game where the line has dropped a point in Jerry World for the Big 12 championship, kicking off at noon on Saturday with the 5th-ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. They're favored by 12.5 points over the 11th-ranked BYU Cougars. The Cougs right now, they have their ex-wide receiver Chase Roberts and their linebacker Max Adford questionable. Tech still somehow at full strength. The BP projections, we're showing the spread under 8 points, so massive value right now on the Cougs. However, the system cannot take into account the chaos that ensued this week in Provo. Right? You had all the happenings with Kalani Sitake, the cookie crumble money, all that good stuff coming in. But Boggs, call me bitter or call me someone who just wants to back a country best 11-1 team against the spread. But I'm laying the 12.5 with Tech. What about you, man?
Yeah, look, I'll call you a smart bettor, right? You watched the first game where they won by 22 points, and that was their closest Big 12 game, which we talked about, outside of that loss to ASU, of course, without Baron Morton. So, look, nothing changes here to me. I'm still going to be on the BYU under 17.5 team total. That's what it is for me. I really wish the public knew when to get away from BYU because they've been off of BYU the last 3 weeks, and I've been scooping up money on BYU 3 weeks in a row. Now we get to play Texas Tech again, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to flip. I'm not going to take BYU again. They just don't match up well here. The run defense for Texas Tech has been outstanding. And look, I think most people think Texas Tech and they think Patrick Mahomes, offensive team, blah, blah, blah. Their offense is good. Their defense is elite. That is what has been winning Texas Tech games. David Bailey, one of the best defensive linemen in the country. Jacob Rodriguez should be in New York with a Heisman chance with a weak Heisman group this year. Yeah. He has been unbelievably good at linebacker this year. So I just, in this game to me, I think we're going to see a problem with BYU scoring, right? What they have done in the Big 12 has been out-physicaling everybody. That's what it is. They're running down everybody's throat. They're beating you with the run game. Your defense gets tired, and they break it open in the fourth quarter. This is what BYU has been doing the whole year. That ain't going to work against Texas Tech. We saw it the last time. I think we're going to run into the same problems in this game. Now, the defense played great for BYU in that game. They held Texas Tech to 5 field goals and only 2 touchdowns, which nobody else has done. They hit Baron Morton. He was only 17 of 30 in that game. And I think it was the second lowest QBR for the entire season. And they were held to 255 yards in that game, BYU was, and 67 rushing yards. They typically put up 200. So I like the under in this game overall, but my favorite bet is BYU under 17.5 here.
Yeah, I'm super cool with that. 67 rushing yards last time for the Cougars against Tech's top-ranked rushing defense. That's the difference for me in this one. And, Tech only got beat once this season, Boggs, or we would think about them maybe a little differently if they had a 0 next to their name in the loss column, right? And the only reason they lost, Will Hammond was under center, and Sam Levitt diced him up for over 300 yards. That's how I think you have to beat Texas Tech, through the air, and you have to play your A-plus game. With how crazy things got out there in Provo this week with Sataki, I just don't think BYU will be up to that challenge.
I mean, I'm not even considering that. They haven't done that all year. They win by running, right?
Yeah.
So I just don't think they have it in the pass game to compete with Texas Tech point for point. And I just think Texas Tech's defense is too good to be beat on the ground. So
yeah,
I don't know about the spread. We're showing value towards BYU. I don't want to bet against BYU because they've been so good and they showed well on defense in the last game.
Sure,
but I don't
fair.
think BYU moves the ball very well.
Okay.
That's my ultimate takeaway there.
We have a couple more games to give some picks out for, but first we also wanted to give away some goodies. And if you want a chance to score this signed A.J. Brown Philadelphia Eagles helmet for absolutely free, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either A, go ahead and download that free Betting Pros app, B, leave a review for the Betting Pros podcast, or C, subscribe to our social media handles. We're at Betting Pros on X and TikTok, and at Betting Pros NFL on the Instagram. The more actions you complete, the more entries you're gonna receive, and we will of course announce a winner right here on the channel, so make sure you ring the bell so you could be alerted when we have new shows up and to claim your prize if you are that lucky winner. The spread has widened in the SEC Championship game, getting underway from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The number 3 Georgia Bulldogs, they are now 2.5-point favorites over the number 10 Alabama Crimson Tide. UGA, they have their center Drew Bobo and their running back Chauncey Bowens listed as questionable. Bama, right after he had his breakout game, RB1 Jam Miller is questionable. Also, their RB2 Kevin Riley might not be up for this one as well. The BP projections right now, we are leaning towards the Dogs, but only by half a point. So, Boggs, how will you be playing this one? And I believe the last time these two teams matched up, you went and got at a really bad beat on the over between the two Blue Bloods.
Yeah. Well, I think the Georgia-Florida game was my really bad beat in the over, but this one probably was as well. Look, this
Lots
game,
of points in the first half, I think, in that one.
Yeah. Look, this game, I don't think it would be right to bounce Bama for losing in the conference championship game, but BYU's sitting, if BYU beats Texas Tech, which we both don't think is going to happen.
That's interesting.
But if that happens and Bama loses this game, there's a possibility that BYU skips in here. So there's a lot of motivation for Alabama to win this game right now, right? Georgia needs to keep their bye. They have motivation as well. I'm not trying to say that they're not motivated to beat Alabama. Of course they are.
Sure.
But I just don't really like this game because of that wrench that you throw in it. And I still like Georgia here. I know Bama won the first game in September, but they have been more of a backing in late squad to me from what I've watched from them. The win at Georgia did wash away a lot of questions after that FSU loss for Alabama. Fairly so, right? They responded by winning that game. But Vanderbilt, they beat Vanderbilt in a beatdown, a tough road game against a surging Missouri team at that time. They won 27-24, and I think they peaked when they beat the Vols, right? But then they had that scare against South Carolina. Less than impressive 20-9 win against LSU. At-home loss against Oklahoma. They beat the cupcake in Eastern Illinois, and 4th and goal against Auburn won that game, right? They are backing in right now. They are not peaking. Now, look, they're still very good, but they're not playing their best football that they played all year right now. So Georgia Tech and Florida, when Stockton could have gotten the cover for us, that's the only one-score games Georgia has played on this 8-game win streak, right? That's it. I like Georgia. The numbers like Bama. The motivation might be better a little bit on the Bama side as well, but I don't know how deep into the bag Kirby's going to go. So the total is a little wishy-washy to me as well. I'm probably going to stay away. I like Georgia in this game. I think they're a better team than Alabama right now, even though Alabama already beat them, and they may have a little more motivating factors in this game to make sure they secure their playoff spot and don't get completely booted. But they're going to know when they take the field. If BYU loses, I think they're in even with the loss. So I don't think you push Notre Dame in and you don't push Texas in. So I think or Miami in, excuse me. Mm-hmm. But I do think Georgia ends up winning this game. So I'll lean towards Georgia here.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a play in this one. It's really tough for me because I agree with you that motivation definitely on the Alabama side. I also think this is kind of the team that Ty Simpson really can show out against, just because the fact that Georgia doesn't really get after the quarterback, right? Like Auburn was getting after him last week. They have some really good guys on that defensive front still for Auburn that were playing inspired football last week. And I just don't think Georgia currently has this. So
neither of these teams rush the passer well.
Yeah.
They're both bad for what they've been historically at getting after the passer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing for Alabama is, like, can Jam Miller give them something? Can one of these running backs be up? Really, like, that's the difference, because UGA does have one of the best rushing defenses in the country. That's not how Alabama really beats you, though, right? It's more through the air. And also, like, there's got to be a time where we start getting Ryan Williams back involved. Like, I understand, like, he's had an okay season, but Boggs, if you would have told me that Ty Simpson and Bama went on this run and Simpson and Ryan Williams really wasn't the part of it that we thought he was going to be, he has definitely regressed, and I'm not really sure what's going on.
I think he's playing at less than 100%. I think it's been that way for a while. So
maybe. Or was he maybe just not always that good, and a couple of hot games last year really got us excited.
Good last year.
I don't know, man. Really good. I'm just saying, it's interesting. The fall off has been real.
It is. Yeah. And, it's going to affect his draft stock if he doesn't get back on it, throughout the playoffs here and next year.
Yeah,
so
he's got time. He's got time to turn it around, but definitely an underwhelming season, especially for those who invested in him, maybe in some futures markets or also in the CFF streets. Boggs, let's go ahead, though. Let's turn the page. There's been no line movement in what's going to be an underwhelming ACC championship game by my standards. It's kicking off from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The 7-5 Duke Blue Devils, they remain a 3.5-point underdog against the 16th ranked Virginia Cavaliers. Duke has some defensive backs banged up in the 2 deep, but otherwise they're at full strength. Everyone should also be up for the Hoos in this one. The BP projections right now, we are giving UVA by 3.5 points. So this is another spot maybe where you want to back the favorite. What do you think, Boggs?
Yeah, look, I think that we saw this game played 3 weeks ago, right? UVA beat Duke 34-17. Mm-hmm. Virginia had 540 yards, 224 rushing yards. They sacked Mensa 4 times, and they were -1 in turnovers. They had 2 to Duke's 1, and they still had the ball for 36 minutes in that game. So we know the weird common opponent thing is what put Duke in here, and they're not going to apologize to anybody, but Duke versus Miami obviously would have been a better
Virginia versus Miami.
I'm sorry, Virginia versus Miami would have been a much better ACC championship game, but that
or Georgia Tech. But,
that overtime, but that overtime loss to SMU haunts Miami right now.
Oh, yeah. So
Duke has been a great offense this season, and they have had some really impressive performances. Wake Forest, they got real bad, 46-49 in those wins. But UVA is top 25 in scoring and in total defense. Duke has been held to less than 20 points against the best defenses they have played. Illinois held them to 19. Georgia Tech held them to 18. UVA held them to 17 already this year. So the team total for Duke, can you take a crack? Do you know what it is? Have you looked yet?
I have not, but based on how many points they're scoring a game and the overall total of this game, I'm going to say probably like, is it 24.5, 23?
It's 26.5. So we're going to go under that. We're going to go under 26.5 for them. The team total is 26.5. I like the under. Louisville, FSU, and NC State are the only teams that scored 27 plus against Virginia this year. They've given up. They haven't given up more than 21 in 6 straight games. Duke under 26.5 and UVA -3.5 are the bets that I like here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't have too much to add on this. Chandler Morris has been really, really fun to watch. I've been, glad to be a part of this ride and get to watch the Hoos have a really historic season for the program, right? Like
they only really got stopped on offense when Chandler Morris got hurt against Wake Forest.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah. Is this the best Virginia team you've ever seen, Boggs?
I don't know if it's the best Virginia team I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of Virginia, but it's one of the best for sure.
Okay.
And it should get them into the tournament with a win.
Okay.
Here, so
okay. Well, hopefully they don't, because I would love. I want the chaos. I want the chaos, baby. Let's see it.
I don't blame you. The chaos is fun, man.
Let's go, Manny Diaz. Let's go, Manny Diaz. I'm here for it, baby. Let's go ahead, though. Let's round it out with the game of all games here. And the spread has actually shrunk between these two juggernauts in the Big Ten Championship that kicks off from the Loud House. That is Lucas Oil Stadium at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday night in prime time. The top-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes, they have moved to between a 3.5 and 4.5 point favorite over the second-ranked Indiana Hoosiers after the line originally opened all the way at 5.5 points. IU currently, they have their left guard, Drew Evans, and their flanker wide receiver, E.J. Williams Jr., who are questionable. The Buckeyes come in at full strength for this one. The BP projections right now still don't think that the movement was even enough, listing this closer to a 1.5 point game. So, Boggs, what do you think about the money coming in on this game so far? And what do you think on the matchup as a whole?
Yeah, look, these are probably the two best teams in the country, right?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people have agreed on this. I think no matter who wins this game, Indiana wins, they go to 1, Ohio State goes to 2. Ohio State wins, they stay at 1, and Indiana stays at 2. I don't mind that at all, right?
It's how it should be.
It's how it should be, but I think we do know that Ohio State is the best team in the country, right? Like, maybe Indiana's number 2, maybe they're not, but Ohio State is number 1, right? Mm-hmm. They played one score game, as we mentioned on Monday. That was Julian Sand's first start against number 1 Texas to start the year, right? Yeah. Like, one of the best defenses in the country, specifically at that point. They were playing much better on defense when everybody was healthy. So they went on the road to Washington, beat them by 18. They went on the road to Illinois, beat them by 18. Penn State at home, beat them by 24. They hold Texas, Ohio, Washington, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and Michigan, all to 10 points or less this year. Indiana has been awesome too. They're undefeated, obviously, but they're 7-5 against the spread. Ohio State is 10-1-1. Indiana had a close call against Iowa and should have lost to Penn State, but the rest of their schedule was on par with the Buckeyes, right? So Indiana would be my pick right now for the second best team in the country, but Ohio State, just no doubt, and they look more balanced on offense with Bo Jackson ripping it up recently as well. So I just don't know how you bet against the Buckeyes until someone gives them a scare or beats them, which we haven't seen all year. They played a pretty easy schedule in terms of, their Big Ten matchups here, but I mean, this is the best team in the country, I think, and I'm just going to bet them until somebody beats them.
Okay, that's fair, man. This one is so tough for me. Like, I don't know if I've seen two more even teams square off ever, honestly, in a big game like this, really. Like, also, then you have two of the Heisman favorites. You have Julian Sand, who calm as a cucumber back there. I got to say, man, for this guy being a young pup in his first action this season, he's been great. And I love Fernando Mendoza's moxie, too. He's a guy who doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low.
This might be a Heisman game.
It could.
I mean, whoever wins could be the Heisman winner. Yeah. Would not be surprised.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I also had a Jeremiah Love 80-1 ticket from preseason that last week it got cut all the way down to 3-1. And I was like, oh, man, are we going to hit the long shot Heisman 2 years in a row after being on 65-1 Travis Hunter a year ago? Wasn't meant to be. He's back at like 12-1. I didn't get a cash out opportunity either because of where I placed it at. So that was a bummer. But I'm really excited for this one. I think it's two great head coaches. Say what you want about Sig Signetti, what he puts out there in interviews, but I love the moxie from this Western PA guy. Also really excited for Ryan Day and what's coming for him and his family after a massive win in the game, and now he can kind of continue his story on here. Yes, exactly. Exactly. No more death threats to Ryan Day.
Don't relax too much, though.
Yeah, let's get a fruit basket to this guy's house, but maybe after this game.
What's better, losing to Michigan and winning the Natty, or beating Michigan and losing in the tournament?
I think winning the Natty is more important. Ohio State fans, y'all are nutty, so I can't say anything
I'll say
about what they think.
I am still warmed by wins over Oklahoma and A&M.
You are.
Like I said at the beginning of the show. Yeah. So not completely, but I would rather have a national title.
Yeah. I agree. It's going to be a long road for me to get either a win over our rivals or a national title. So
At least the Steelers are bad, so you have that.
yeah, all I want to say too is Big Ben, screw you for putting out into the universe Mike Tomlin to Penn State. I don't need one of my problems to go make my other problem worse. Like I don't need
Remember,
that.
Tomlin had rumors of going to Texas a couple years ago as well, before they hired Sark. So
Jeez. Yeah,
they just put Tomlin wherever they want to in rumors. Whatever. There's no smoke to that fire. It's just Ben running his mouth.
I do love the football and podcast with Big Ben and company. They do a nice job over there. Boggs, let's get out of here though with our podcast. And what do you have for best bets this week?
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot to pick from in these conference championship games, but I think my favorite bet is still UNLV over 26.5. I love that bet. They scored more points than that in every single game they played this year. Boise State's played good defense. I do know that it's cold and rainy there, but it's not oppressive cold. We saw this in the game last year as well. I just like that game to be a little higher scoring, and I think UNLV holds the ball for longer because, yes, Madison is playing, but is he 100%? Is there no rust to knock off? I just don't think so. So, yeah, I like UNLV team total over 26.5 is my favorite bet this week.
Okay. I love the Jacksonville State play I have on the team total over, but I think the most units I have on any play this week is actually that James Madison alt minus 20.5 at minus 150. I think they're going to go out here, Bob Chesney and company, and they're going to say, hey, let's put this in Manny Diaz's hands, right? Let's make the committee make a decision. Troy, in my opinion, is by far the worst team in these championships this weekend. I think they're going to play like it. JMU by a million, my friends. That's where I'm going with my best bet of the week. That is going to do it for us, though, folks, on this episode of the Betting Pros College Football Show. Still to come later on, we have Boggs Best Bets and player props. That will, of course, greet your YouTube feeds and audio feeds on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Also, let us know down in the comments below your favorite conference championship picks. And while you're here, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new. For Scott Big Time Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.